Hello, blessed be. Blessed be everyone. Welcome to another Mystery Witch School live stream. I can see that Luciano is there, so let me know if you can hear me. I know that it's only just started and we wait for other people to come on to the live, but I just wanted to check that the sound is working properly. So if you can't hear me, let me know. If you can hear me, let me know. Today, we are talking about embracing your inner power and how that relates to witchcraft, how that relates to even your just general well being and your general happiness. So, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome to the Mystery Witch School YouTube channel. And what we do here is we talk about all things Wicca, witchcraft, and tarot, magic, shadow work, and basically how to use these things to have a better life. Use these things to make you feel better in your life, to create the life you want to create. And that's why we do this. That's why we do magic. That's why we love working with herbs. We love working with gemstones because we just want to make a better life for ourselves. And that better life for ourselves is all about our inner being and how magic affects us on an inner level. So now that I've got people joining me, can you just let me know in the chat that you can hear me? Because this microphone's been a bit dodgy with YouTube for some reason. So do let me know if you can hear me there. Uh, blessed be Sandy, blessed be Angelie. Yep, you can hear me. Awesome. Thanks, Alexis. Merry meet. Happy greetings from Houston. Hi, Andrew. Welcome. So, for all of those who are just joining now, we're talking about embracing your inner power. And for those of you watching the replay, you can still comment, still join in on the conversation. And for those of you who are in the chat, please join in on the conversation. You can ask questions and also just, share your own experiences of these things too. So, yeah, do join in. There's also super chat and super thanks for those of you who want to support the channel financially through YouTube. You can also do it through PayPal as well. There's PayPal me in the comments as well. So it's another way that you can support the channel. Even if it's just a couple of dollars, it still helps pay the bills, basically. So embracing your inner power is really crucial to being a witch because witches are supposed to be, these powerful beings. We're supposed to be incredibly powerful. And people talk about witches' powers and they want witches' powers. I get people emailing me wanting witches' powers, or they feel they have witches' powers, whatever these powers are. But these powers are something we all have within us. It's just some of us are better at using them than others, where some of us are born being able to use them better than others, and others of us have to learn how to use them and become better, and better. So when we come to witchcraft, we're always looking at ways to be able to use magic to be able to better our life in some way, to feel more connected to ourselves, to feel more connected to nature, to feel more connected to spirit, to the god and goddess, so that our lives feel like that it has meaning. We're looking for meaning in our lives. Now, if you are new to witchcraft, or even if you're not that new, maybe you've been practicing for a while, but you're finding that you're just not being able to get a regular practice, you don't know where to start, you don't know what to study first, uh, because there's just so much out there to learn and study. I do have a free masterclass called How to Start Your Witchcraft Practice. There's a link in the description field below this video. There's also links on my website, mysterywitchschool.com, and I'll put a link in the chat as well. So that's a free masterclass. You just have to sign up. If you want to stay on my newsletter, then just tick the box to say you still want to hear from me. And you'll also go on my newsletter so that you know when lives are coming out, or basically what's going on, and when things are coming out, when new videos are coming out. Okay. So the whole our inner power is our power. It is the witch's power. It is that. That's what it is. It's something that's within us, and everything is within us. The whole universe is within us. It's not like we're a being that we've suddenly sort of come here and we're in a place. The place is actually within us that's being projected out from ourselves and interpreted by ourselves. So our perception, we're interpreting what's going on around us, and some of it is coming from our projections as well. So we get feedback all the time from the universe as to what we're thinking and what we're feeling. And magic is about that. Magic is about us understanding that we are co creators of our own reality. We are able to change our perception and to create the world we want to create, the world we want to live in. And that is every human being's right and ability to do so. But we've been so disempowered by culture, by religion, to be expecting some external being or some external thing to be the puppeteer of our lives, that we haven't been allowed to co-create with our higher selves, with spirit, and create. That's what we're here to do. Create, 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 create. And so your self-empowerment is what helps you create. And this is all about personal growth, know thyself, learning more about who you are, how you tick, what works, what doesn't work. And you can really go down a rabbit hole with this, with the shadow work side of it, with a lot of meditation and a lot of deep mystical practices to really discover who and what you truly are. Because we have been hoodwinked into believing that our ego self is who we are and that we have to be a certain thing, a certain person in a certain way, doing certain things in order to be acceptable in the world. And we've created this ego facade to keep us safe, to be able to function in this world. But deep down inside, we all know that there's more to us than that ego facade, that there's something much more special and way more magical. And that's what I like to teach in Mystery Witch School, is that you are a magical being. So the inner power is your authentic, untapped source of energy, your wisdom. It's the magic that is in every person. And while it can be deeply personal, it's also universal at the same time. It's rooted in who you truly are. So, this is your true self and your true essence that is both individual to yourself and general as well. It's kind of like we have quite a bit of a paradox going on in spirituality where things are and they aren't at the same time. So your inner power is something that, and your inner being and your essence is something that in this particular lifetime that you're having now in this present life is unique to you, but also we're all connected and we are all one at the same time. It's like the divine consciousness having various different experiences through various different facets of itself, which we are shards of, or echoes of, or facets of. And this inner power is not something that can be granted to you outside of yourself. No one can give it to you. Really, people can unlock the door for you. You may be given downloads, you may have initiations and transmission from people, such as Reiki, for example. But all they're really doing is unlocking the door for you to be able to access your ability to connect to consciousness yourself. You can do it yourself. You don't really need other people to do that for you. Now, magic doesn't come from external rituals. It doesn't come from the tools. It comes from you and your ability to put your will into the world, which is your thoughts, your desires, and how you feel about those thoughts and desires. So the rituals, the crystals, the candles, they help focus your energy. They're fun to work with, and they can help you focus on your intent when they're aligned to your intent as well. So if you're doing a money spell, you might use a citrine crystal, for example, because that resonates with the frequency of abundance. And so that can help you feel more abundant if you're tapping into the energy of a citrine crystal. But it's helping you tap into who you're feeling. And you can put those feelings into an object and make a talisman or make an amulet so that that energy is being carried then in those objects. But it's your will, it's your intention, and you're feeling as if it's already happening. You're experiencing of it already happening that makes the magic happen. So let's have a look at the comments, see who else has joined in. Hi, Shannon. Hi, Alexis Water 23. Hi, Salem. Indeed, natural citrine with affirmative intention. Yes. And the same with the herbs as well. When we're working with the herbs, if you're wanting to work with herbs that, resonate with love and romance, you would work with rose and maybe even rosemary, jasmine, because those scents can help you feel more love. It can help you feel sweeter, can help you feel those feelings. And so you're utilizing the energy of those oils to help you feel a certain way. And connect with those oils and the spirit of those plants to help put your will out into the world. Herbs, the healing of the nation. Yes, yes. Herbs are very potent things, very potent indeed. They have a lot of chemicals in them that can be used certainly for both healing and for harm, as we've known throughout our folklore, how potent herbs are when you take them internally or you put them on your skin, for example. But in magic, we're resonating with them on a vibrational level and using them vibrationally. And you could pretty much work with a lot of different earth creatures, such as plants, to for your magic. Apples, for example, can be used in romance magic and love magic. And various different fruits can be associated with various different feelings and energetic desires as well. The same even probably with edible plants that are called vegetables can also be used in magic because they would also have associated magical qualities where you can use them. Some things are used as offerings. For example, pomegranates are used as offerings for Hekate. So we use the tools of the earth to connect with deities as well as connect with the magic and connect with the intent that we have. The self-awareness and connection with our true self is an ongoing journey. It's not something that you do for 6 months and then you're there. It's ongoing. You're always unfolding more and more and more and more about yourself. And at first, it seems like it's about clearing away, limiting beliefs, finding those limiting beliefs, discovering them, and then trying to clear them away through using tapping or reframes, NLP, hypnotherapy, various different methods of clearing away beliefs, because it's the beliefs that are actually creating our reality, because they create a perception of things. Two people can look at the same object and perceive it differently. Someone could have a really pleasant experience looking at it, and someone else could have a really horrible experience looking at it, yet they're looking at the same thing. But it's what they're projecting onto that thing or projecting out that is creating, and their beliefs around that thing that is creating their reaction to that thing. So we have a lot of ability to be able to change our perception through changing our beliefs and creating then the world we want to live in. And that is part of our inner power. A person who is powerful can stand in their truth. They can stand in their beliefs. They can change their ideas and ideologies and beliefs when they get new information and new data that comes in that may make them rethink something. They are able to feel into their intuition more than anything, to connect to that part of them and be guided by their guides and by their intuition, because they have the confidence in themselves to be able to sometimes go against maybe the advice of other people or the things that other people may be expecting of them. So when you're stepping into your inner power, sometimes you can have a little bit of conflict around you. Sometimes people won't like it because they can no longer manipulate you anymore through shaming or guilting or putting on various different moral values or things that may not be the same as yours. So when you're stepping into your inner power, you really are taking that step into individuality, but also when you're stepping into it from a spiritual point of view and from a higher self point of view, you're also opening yourself up to being more compassionate towards other beings as well, because you learn to have more compassion for yourself. It's probably the first thing to really think about is, or give yourself is compassion first. You have to feel good about yourself and okay within yourself in order to feel those things truly for other people and other beings. We have to learn to forgive ourselves before we can forgive other people. We have to learn to love ourselves before we can love other people. So we start with ourselves first. We experiment on ourselves first. And when we start doing that, we start to open up, and other people don't seem so scary anymore. Whether they're for you or whether they're against you, they're not as frightening. You don't get as triggered. You don't fall into maybe anger or anxiety or depression or anything so much when in reacting to other people's reactions to you, because you're standing more confidently in yourself and you realize that that's their projection and their problem. And if you know that you haven't done anything in and of yourself, you're able to give people back their stuff and not take their stuff and make it your stuff. You need to be able to give all of the stuff back to everybody around you and not own their stuff. You can only own your own stuff. And often, this process of inner power requires you to do a ceremony, like a ritual, to give back things to other people, like beliefs, for example, that you may have picked up from a parent. You could do a ritual to give that belief back to them. Like they may have the belief that in order to be successful, you have to work really, 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 really hard. You can give that belief back to them if you don't want to be burning yourself out trying to achieve something, because you don't necessarily have to work harder at something. You just have to work smarter and follow more of a surrendering to learning rather than push, 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 go, 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 do, do, do. So if there's beliefs that you've picked up that you know you've inherited from other people, whether that's the culture, your parents, school, whatever, religion, you can give it back through ritual, like a giving back ritual, which is fine to do because they're not your beliefs. They were something you borrowed from them as a child. Assumptions are your beliefs. When you assume something, like if you assume you're not good enough because when you were a child, maybe you felt that maybe another sibling was valued more than you were, that they got more attention or they got more than you did, and you may have assumed then you're not good enough. That's an assumption. And so that is something that belongs to you. But again, that's something you can change. You don't have to hold on to that assumption. You can change that and step more into your power by changing that assumption to, what if I am good enough? You know, even though it appeared that my older sibling got all the praise, and maybe they did. Maybe it was true. They did get all the praise. That's not yours. That's your parents. That belongs to them. It doesn't belong to you. You can give it back and then change the assumption. So this growth of knowing yourself, finding out what your beliefs are, the ones that are helpful to you, the ones that aren't helpful to you, and when you change them, you start to become more powerful within yourself, and you start to manifest more of what it is that you want. You start to see that your life is changing around you because you're perceiving things differently, you're creating things differently. You may have different desires. Your desires may change as well. Things you thought that you wanted, you no longer want. Because maybe you thought you should want them and you really didn't want them. And so you change what you value, you change what's important to you, you change your daily routine. You grow and you learn. And when challenges and opportunities come up, which they do, then you can take them as a growing or a learning opportunity, the price of an education, a learning opportunity, always with the attitude of this too will pass. Even the good stuff, this too will pass, because everything does pass, everything is in flux. And so when the good things happen, that will pass. When the bad things happen, that will pass. And if you're looking at the Hermetic principles with the principle of rhythm, which is where the pendulum's swinging from side to side, where you've got the extreme positive and extreme negative, for example. Maybe you've got the pendulum swinging from really positive, wonderful experiences to really negative, horrible experiences. And as a magician, as a witch, you're not wanting those extreme swings. You're actually wanting the pendulum to just swing a little bit in the middle so that there's more of an equilibrium in your life, so that you're not being excessively ecstatic emotionally, but you're not being so that you won't end up being excessively feeling negative when the tough stuff happens. It's about maintaining a sense of emotional equilibrium where you're not swinging from side to side. You're just allowing things to happen as they happen, acknowledge them as they happen, give gratitude when they happen. Know that if it's a challenge or something, it's an opportunity for growth. Find the opportunity in it. Find what you can learn from it, no matter how horrible the experience is. You have to step up out of the whole mentality of woe is me in order to be powerful. You cannot be a powerful person when you're feeling sorry for yourself, no matter what's happening. And of course, we all feel sorry for ourselves at times, and it's okay to give yourself a time to feel sorry for yourself. You give yourself permission to feel sorry for yourself for a small amount of time, and then know that you've got to jump out of it if you want to become a powerful person. You won't stay in that woe is me, I'm a victim mentality. You will be able to acknowledge that that happened and then be able to take your power back, because staying as a feeling sorry for oneself and staying in that mentality. So even if one is technically a victim, it doesn't mean you have to stay in that mentality and remain one within yourself. You can have had those things happen to you and those circumstances happen to you. So technically you have been a victim, but that doesn't mean you have to feel like you're disempowered because of it. You can step back into your power and take back your life, take back your power. Unfortunately, our culture tends to push victimhood and push these things, and that just keeps us all down. It keeps us all disempowered, and it's almost like it's deliberate to keep us disempowered, to stop us from being able to, you know, do what we need to do in order to pick ourselves up when things go wrong. Not saying that it's easy to do that, it's just that it has to be done. If you wanna have a happy life, if you want to create the life you want to create, you have to do it. There's no other option. And so that means facing doubts, facing limitations, and access these deeper parts of yourself, because your higher self is not affected by any of these things. Whether something good happens in this life or something bad happens in this life, your higher self is not affected by it. It doesn't even have a reaction to it. It just is. That spiritual part of you is immune to all of the ups and downs of our life here on planet Earth. It's merely observing them. It's not getting involved. It's not, well, it can get involved as in guidance, but it's not reacting. The ego is what reacts. So the shadow work comes in here, where we do go into a shadow self and look at our beliefs about ourselves and the world, look at our shadow qualities. You know, when am I greedy? Am I denying that I have greed sometimes in my life, that I sometimes do act in a greedy fashion? And if so, why? Where is the greed coming from? What am I afraid of losing by being greedy? Because greed comes from a fear of loss. So if you're feeling there's not enough to go around, or if you don't keep this thing or keep everything, you're going to lose everything, then that's something to look at and just acknowledge, where did maybe you picked that up, but the way you were growing up, you needed to hold on to things, or you had nothing. And so now there's a poverty mentality where you feel you've got to hold on to things. And the poverty mentality isn't just about money. You could have poverty around love. You could have poverty around relationships. You could have poverty around health, poverty around feeling safe in the world. And looking at these shadow qualities like greed, it's just going, okay, if I'm feeling like I've got to have so much and more for me, and not be able to share maybe some of it with other people, what am I afraid of losing? What's the fear behind greed? Because greed has fear behind it. And then you find out what that is, and then you can work on it. You can start doing some work on changing the fear of loss or the fear of not having enough, and work on that, and then the greed goes away. Same with selfishness, the extremes of that, being really, really, really selfish. What are you afraid of losing? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of that aren't if you aren't, constantly thinking of self all of the time, regardless of what any is going on outside, what are you afraid of? What's the danger for you? And you can just go in there and look for the danger, and you'll find there's a danger there. There's a belief that it's not safe. So you just go in and change the belief. You just work on the belief that it's not safe, and the selfishness starts to go away. It's just these shadow qualities are like armor. They're ways we protect ourselves from our fears, but they also keep us down, and they keep us from fully experiencing life in the way that we want to experience it. They stop us from truly being who we truly are. They stop us from enjoying life. They stop us from having even, good relationships with other people, because these fears are there underneath all of these things. The way we react in the world too is caused by beliefs. Some people are prone to anger and acting in anger. So anger is the very first thing that comes when they're feeling threatened in some way. And so they'll lash out and behave in a certain way or say certain things, and then wonder why they don't have a lot of friends, or they're always arguing with people, or there's always an altercation when they go somewhere or do something. They're always in arguments. They're always in anger. They're always in conflict. So anger is about protecting ourselves, right? So what is it that's not safe? What's feeling threatening? And work on that. Find out what's feeling threatening when it comes to anger. Often anxiety, the feeling of anxiety, is actually anger. So it might not necessarily be the anxiety around fear. It's anxiety coming from the energy of anger, where you're feeling you're needing to defend yourself against something. So always look at these things and just go, okay, what is it really? It's okay to have greed and selfishness if you're going to do some work on them. It's not like, we're told we shouldn't have these things and that they're bad, and therefore we should just stop it. But you can't stop it if you're reacting to something on a subconscious level. You have to go down there and change it in order to stop it. So don't be afraid to face these aspects of yourself if you know that they're there, or even if you don't know they're there, or if you're denying they're even there, then definitely go and have a look. If you're denying you have greed, if you're denying selfishness, if you're denying narcissism, it means you have it. And you need to go down and look for it and see where it is and where it manifests in your life so that you can go in there and change it. Because denying something is not having it, because we all have these qualities. We all go into greed, we all go into selfishness, narcissism when we're under threat. It's part of our shadow qualities and our self-defense mechanism. Now, that doesn't mean you can never think of self first, of course. When you deal with selfishness, what you learn is self-care, how to care for yourself, when to give and when to not give. The same with greed. You learn that you're not going to lose everything, that you can let go of things, you can share. You don't need to hoard everything and hold on to everything. And because you don't no longer doing that out of a sense of loss. You'll take what you need, you'll take what's useful to you. You may even have a little squirrel stash somewhere for winter so that you've got enough there for difficult times. And that's what you'll do. You'll make provisions for yourself and look after yourself and your family, but you'll also be able to let go more. So it's not about, see, a lot of people feel that with the shadow qualities, you've got to always be the opposite in your life. So if you're denying you've got selfishness in you, you're going to be someone that just gives all the time and wondering why you're feeling burned out, why you're feeling resentment, and why people aren't giving back. And that's just because you're running away from that part of yourself. But if you can see that part of yourself and allow yourself to have the selfishness, and then go in and find out what all the fears are and everything around it, you'll find that you'll know when to give and you'll know when to not give. And that'll feel okay within yourself. Okay. I have plants. I feel they protect my home. Yes, and they do. They do. You just ask them to protect your home and they can do that. There's herb plants that are prosperity plants that people will plant around their homes. Some of the succulent plants, I don't know the names of them, but they're like money. They're called money trees or money plants. Can bring more prosperity into your life by having them at your front door, having them at your back door as well. Herbs are our healing allies and protective allies. Cinnamon for manifestation and protection. Yes. Yes. I really value plants for their magical abilities and their medicinal qualities. And I think a lot of us, when you're working with plants in magic, you learn that plants have spirit and you learn to connect with the plant spirit. So you know that the plants are sentient in some way, that there is a consciousness there within these beings. And they're so different to us that we forget that they are living beings and that they too want to live and they too want to be able to grow and reproduce themselves and do all the things that the animal world wants to do as well. Yet sometimes I think that we disrespect plants because we don't associate them with having these qualities. And so often we'll often just use plants and abuse plants in quite a really nasty way to compare to what we would do, say, with other beings. And when we're doing magic with plants and we are picking a plant or, cutting some rosemary or whatever, always thank the plant. Thank it for its offering. Thank it for your use of it. Always be grateful to any of the substances, whether it's stones, rocks, or plants, or whatever it is that you're using. Always give thanks to that. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of traditions do grace before meals or give thanks before a meal. And the thanking of all of the beings who've brought you that meal. So that includes any of the humans that may have been involved in the preparation of the meal and so on. So that you're thanking everybody who's been involved, everybody and everything that's been involved in your sustenance and your ability to be able to sustain yourself. And That is just simply practicing gratitude and realizing that we are dependent on everything around us. We cannot live independently, that we are dependent on other life, that life requires life to live. And the connection between life and death, and the way that nature works in this frequency anyway. And we learn more about these things, we learn more about ourselves and the role we're playing in all of these things too. So when it comes to confidence, it's about building your confidence in yourself. It's about tuning into your intuition and having confidence in your intuitive feelings. And if you're struggling to know whether something is an intuitive urge or whether it's coming from somewhere else, all you have to do is place your hand on your heart chakra and feel into what it feels like. Ask a question, is this right for me? And feel into what it feels like. Your heart will tell you straight away that what it feels like. Your heart energy will tell you when your spells are coming to fruition. You'll have a feeling that it's all happening, it's all in motion, and a confidence that it is already manifested on the astral and that it is going to manifest in the 3D world. It comes from the heart. That belief and that knowing comes from the heart chakra. So some of the things that you can do to build confidence in yourself is to start with daily practices. Start with connecting to your craft on a daily basis. And this could be just going out and grounding on the earth for as long as you like. So you're connecting with the earth. It could be meditating. Meditation is very important for self-awareness and self-knowledge and inner power. You really can't go without some form of meditation to really tap into these things, to be able to clear the mind, to be able to focus the mind on one thing, and to be able to observe what's going on in the mind too is a part of meditation. It's not just trying to make your mind blank, and it's not just trying to look at a flame and only think of the flame. There's so many different ways that you can use meditation for self-awareness, where you can just tune into what it is that you're experiencing on an emotional level and just observe it. Know that there's a part of you that can observe you experiencing a feeling. And when you just allow yourself to step aside and observe the feelings that are going on in your body, you'll find you can then observe the thoughts that are creating those feelings and just observe them. And they start to settle when you observe them, because you're stepping away from being caught up in the ego to observing it instead. And that's meditation is all about helping you step into your observing self. So lighting a candle, spending even just 2 minutes a day watching that candle, if you're wanting to have more pointed focus, just tuning into how you're feeling, where the tension is in your body, and just observe it. Just watch. Just be the watcher and just watch these things. You can use various different practices where you're radiating loving kindness to yourself every day. So you could start the day with an intention, and that intention could be, may I be happy, may I be peaceful, may I be at peace. And then when you've got that feeling of peace or happiness in your heart chakra, you can give that to yourself and to your energy field. And then if you're wanting to, you can then project that out to other people, specific people that you know who could do with some more happiness or could do with some more peace. You can use that energy then to bring those feelings more into yourself, and you can also then project them out to any other person that you're wanting to help out in that way too. And you'll find that that will help bring more of a sense of peace and equanimity into your life as well. So these are little practices that you can do. They don't have to take a lot of time. Lighting a candle, and just asking a deity to be present, asking the goddess to be with you, asking a god to be with you today, to give you advice, to give you guidance on a particular thing that you might be focusing on that day. And you can give yourself things to focus on every day. You could pull a tarot card and use the tarot to give you guidance of what to focus on that day, or an oracle card, a rune, or you could just ask for guidance. What do I feel I need today? And see what happens when you ask a deity like Hekate, for example, to be present and guide you. See what pops up in your daily life. Definitely start practicing celebration of all the good things that happen for you. And it's okay to celebrate the same things every day if you don't have a lot going on in one day. It's like a gratitude list. It's like an appreciation list where you're starting to feel all the good things that are happening in your life. What's good in your life? You're grateful that you have food, grateful to have shelter, grateful to have people to talk to. What are you grateful for? What is in your life now that's working for you? And they can be big things, it can be little things, and you can even include the same things on a daily basis. If you're particularly grateful for your home, you can include that every day. If you're grateful for the money that you have, that you don't have to, worry about paying bills and things like that, the money's there, being grateful for that and appreciating that. That's a magic within itself. What you focus on, you bring more of. So if you're focusing on all the good things in your life, you are magically doing a spell to bring more of the good stuff to you and to keep that good stuff in your life. So really feeling the heart energy of gratitude. So if you want to write your gratitudes down, write what you're grateful for. I'm grateful for whatever it is, and then feel into it. Give yourself a few seconds to feel into what that feels like, to know that you have that and that it's there, and that what does that feel like? Maybe you're grateful for a relationship that you have with someone, or you're grateful to a pet, that you have a pet, and you can feel into the warmth of the feeling towards that pet, which will also give the pet a really good energetic feeling as well. And learning to trust your intuition is a part of this. So putting the hand on the heart, as I said before, and allowing your heart to lead you and guide you when you have maybe major decisions to make, that you're trying to figure out what's the right thing for me moving forward, what's going to lead me in the right direction on my path moving forward. So tuning into your heart energy is a way you will develop your intuition. The trap that a lot of people fall into, and this is because of our externalization in our culture in general, is that we're always looking for external validation and external things. So reading all the time, sometimes constantly reading or constantly surfing the internet for things can be more of a dopamine hit than it is actually really helping us. And sometimes slowing down, even on the books that you read. And how many books have you read? And then when you finish reading them, you haven't really felt that you've gained much from having read the book. It was fun to read it and it was enjoyable. But how much of that book did you actually put into practice? How much of that book did you use? How did that book change you? And those kinds of things. Because a lot of us tend to gobble up information. We're very hungry for new information. People always wanting to know more about magic. What's the best spell, the biggest spell, the most powerful spell? But once again, the most powerful spell is the spell that you do when you're really in your power. So that could be any old spell. Seriously, it could be some candle spell that you get from a candle magic book. It could be a sigil spell that you get from another book. What works for one person may not work for another person. Some people maybe find that sigil magic just doesn't do it for them. And other people find it's the most powerful magic in the world. And so it's very individual, these things too, but it's always coming back to yourself. So really allowing your intuition to guide you too on your magical path as well, and understanding that you do end up having to have a certain degree of self-reliance eventually on this path. So whilst you may learn from other people and books and all of these things, there's a point where you've got to start listening to your own higher guidance And hopefully that's part of your training, when you're training to do witchcraft or magic. And not be so concerned about what other people are doing and achieving, not comparing yourself with other people all the time and going, "Oh, so and so is having all these experiences and I don't seem to be having any, so I must be a lousy witch." That's not the case. You know, you don't know what other person's experiences are to have those abilities. That might be, lifetimes of work in that particular area that you haven't started working on yet. But maybe you're good at something other stuff that they're not necessarily that great at. So always to have inner power, it's not about comparing yourself to others. Certainly learn from other people, and you can admire other people's abilities and other people's knowledge and go, well, I'd really like to be able to do it like that, or be as good as that, but not to feel lousy in comparison to them. So I hope that makes sense. This is something that I really push in the Mystery Witch School. And the whole Mystery Witch School 101 Academy, which is the 12-month course on Wicca and Witchcraft. That whole course is designed to help you feel more confident practicing the craft, to feel more confident in yourself through the bits of self-exploration that are in that course, how to work with deity, how to connect with the lunar energies and experience them for yourself, to experience connecting to deity yourself, to create circles yourself, to connect to the herbs, to connect to candles, to connect to the tools that you use, working with energy. All of these things give you more confidence in your ability to be who you are in the world. And they're like the first stage of, becoming who you truly are, is knowing that through all of this practice that you do on a monthly basis, that you are getting more skills, that you are learning to connect with energy, and that these things are starting to happen. You're starting to see changes in your life. You're starting to see and experience changes in yourself because you're doing the practices. And whether it's just energy work, there's guided meditations, you're doing spells, creating a circle, you're starting to work with your power, you're starting to work with your energy, and you're starting to know that you are a creator in this world. And you have the ability to be able to create the happiness that you want to create. And it's an inner job, and it's also something that you can use magic to help you create too. And the happier you become and the more connected to yourself you become, the more of the wonderful stuff you'll start creating for yourself. So it's really about this inner confidence and following your intuition. And all of that, of course, is a shadow work journey. So if you are interested in learning Wicca and Witchcraft with me, I have the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy. There's a link in the description field below this video. And I've also got it on my website, of course, mysterywitchschool.com, and it's in the chat as well. I think it's in the chat. I thought I put it in the chat. No, I just put it twice accidentally. Okay, let's have a look at what we've got here. I had a Hekate experience a few days ago. Awesome. Awesome, Jagdog. Now I'm just going to go back up here. To all of the comments here that I missed before. So we got to herbs, cloves used for protection. Yes, I love using cloves for protection. They're great for protecting against gossip. Is it true that practicing voodoo, they use rum or whiskey? I do believe that they use rum and whiskey as offerings, and they probably also use the intoxication as well for altered states, but I don't know for sure. You'd have to ask somebody who practices it. I do a cloves for protection, rosemary for insight. Yes, clarity, intuition, and cleaning. Yes. My son is here for dinner. I'll finish watching later. Okay. Whiskey, both used depending on the Orisha. Awesome. Would you consider a pentagram symbol a good home protection sigil for windows and doors? Absolutely. Yes, it is an amazing protection symbol. Definitely. And when you use it, make sure that you do enchant it by putting the protective energies on it and drawing it energetically over the physical representation of the pentagram too. It is very powerful. J-Dog, sorry I'm late. Intuition amplified these past few days. Awesome. There's a lot going on in the planets this year that can be affecting us all in regards to becoming more conscious and more self-aware. So there may be a lot of weird experiences, and also tuning more into intuition, that kind of thing. I've been seeing a lot of observe, don't absorb in magical circles online, quite synchronistic, because I've been working on that myself. Yes, being the observer and not getting caught up in everything that's going on. Disassociation of divine masculine, divine feminine, God, goddess, very interesting. Anxiety really is connected to the fight or flight response. Absolutely. Yes. And often anger is there. So investigate what you might be angry at. If anybody's experiencing anxiety and it's puzzling you as to why it's there, because it creeps up on you. And this is because I've had the experience with it, and often anger's there somewhere. So it's okay to acknowledge, I think I'm angry at something. I'm angry about this. I'm really angry about this, and you can start tapping on the anger. My boss is a narcissist. I'm trying how to break her. Okay, you could maybe find another boss. The more powerful you become within yourself, the harder it will be for that person to be a problem. And you may find that the more work you do on yourself, they may actually go away. And if you're having interactions with a narcissist, this can be an opportunity for you to work on narcissism within yourself and having a look at that aspect of oneself, your self-love, or the obsession with oneself, and see where the fears might be around that. The shadow work is often given to us from other people that pop up in our lives with these qualities like greed or selfishness or narcissism, because they're actually reflecting that aspect within ourselves that we haven't worked with yet. And we can then go in and go, okay, where am I being narcissistic in my life? Have I been narcissistic in the past in my life? Is it possible I could act that way again in the future? And then you can sort of go, okay, maybe I can look at my own narcissism and use this person as an opportunity to look within myself and heal that part of yourself, because we all have narcissism within us. It's about healthy narcissism or unhealthy narcissism. EFT, body talk. Yes, grateful that I got TV finally. Oh, yes, that's right, Luciano. Awesome. I want to do a spell to attract witches to me. Any tips on how to do that? Well, just imagine yourself surrounded by witches. I don't know. So witches, you want some other people who are witches, perhaps, so you don't feel so alone in the world as a witch. Just imagine yourself surrounded by other witches and socializing with them, or whatever it is. That's an easy thing to do. That's an easy way to attract the type of people that you want to attract, is just imagine that they're already there. Okay, Hekate experience. Whoops. Okay. Thank you, Donamius. J-Dog. Same here. Today is very enlightening. Great. I'm glad it's enlightening. Great. I'm glad you can hear me. I was walking and 3 dogs surrounded me and walked with me for almost a mile. And then we hit a crossroads and then the dog just went back. Okay, interesting. So that's definitely a Hekate experience. That's a sign of some sort. Like and subscribe. Yes, everybody, like and subscribe. And my first experience, Hekate, she was near me, and after that I had a vivid dream about something bothering me, and she gave me the solution. Awesome. She's great like that. She's my go-to Titan for many reasons. She's crossed paths. Yep, but that's just some, yep. Do you have a protection ritual or routine before you go to sleep at night? I've had various ones over the years. I used to do the banishing ritual of the pentagram. I used to just call in archangels. I work with Hekate now more than so. So I work with her, I guess, and her animals. Um, I usually just go and so I see that there's protection around me. So it could be, I mean, these days it's more of an energetic protection rather than calling in any deities or any angels or anything like I've done in the past. But there's various different ways that you can do it, and you can change it up to if you get sick of doing the protection the same way that you normally do. I've also drawn pentagrams energetically on the doors and windows as well. It's another way that you can do it. So they're talking about Hekate. Awesome. That's the banishing ritual is great before bed. Yes, it is. She came to, so this is Hekate, a meditative moonwalk when I was 17. I came out of the broom closet a few years ago later and learned and practiced with her. She watches and protects witches, pagans who honor her. Yes, she does. She's a wonderful deity to work with, especially for things like shadow work. So when you're ready to do shadow work, definitely Hekate is a go-to deity to work with for that. And I have courses with Hekate as well for shadow work too. So if you want to go onto my website, you'll see all the different courses that I have. And also there's links to them in the description field below this video too. But mostly when it comes to self-empowerment, yes, the shadow work is something you will have to do at some stage, but it's ongoing. But to start with, it's about you getting confident with your practice as a witch and doing the energy work, working with creating sacred space and all of those basic witchcraft things, which a lot of people do stumble with. So that's why the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy is there. Okay, everybody, have a wonderful week. I will see you again next week, same time, same place. And yes, have a wonderful week. Blessed be.